Good evening. It's Monday, May 9th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole, what separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
We have a tiny cat that watches us shout at the devil every night, or at least that's pretty much what it looks like he thinks we're doing.
That's pretty much what we're doing. So, and we have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Yeah, all right. Good evening.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning that's three unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. Tonight, we have Just the News Monday for you. That's always exciting.
Oh.
So let's dig right into our headlines. 15-year-old Ukrainian drove herself and others through battlefield to safety.
Say her name, Anastasia.
Anastasia.
Way to go, Anastasia. So she drove herself and others through a minefield to safety, despite being, in the process, shot in the legs and feet, and she continued to drive.
Yeah.
Well played, sweetheart. Good job.
She drove several injured out of the frontline town of Popskana.
Awesome.
Yep.
There's a real hero for you.
So anyway, during the journey, the car was shot at. She was wounded in the legs, but she kept driving. And again, her name is Anastasia.
Hell yeah.
Say her name.
Yeah.
One brave little Anastasia.
Yeah, good job, Anastasia.
So
well
anyway.
played. We love you.
Not
Mommy,
only did
this
she
is who
drive
you should
through a
recruit.
battlefield and got shot up, she drove through
You're a
mines.
minefield. Jesus.
So-
I mean, she's got to have the luck of the devil. I mean,
Special
seriously.
ops
Yeah.
kids, I would definitely be recruiting these ones for tuition assistance and whatever.
Yeah. So, anyway,
CIA, recruit that chick.
her mother had taught her to drive, and she got behind the wheel and took two injured soldiers through the... Way to go.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's great. Good for you, Anastasia. All right. Putin's Victory Day speech sabotaged by hackers.
So I
Tell me it
really
was
hope
anonymous.
these
Tell
were
me it was
Russian
anonymous.
hackers, but certainly didn't have to be. So he did his big Victory Day thing, right? And he got the parade Trump always wanted, right? You know, Trump wanted to be up there doing the El Duce thing and so forth.
Yeah, next thing he's going to have him doing the Nazi fucking... Anyway.
He's already got a lot of them doing that. So anyway,
Goose-stepping. God damn.
what they hacked was their version of like the TV guides. So you look to see what's on. And so when you tuned to the TV guide, it said things like, "On your hands are the blood of thousands of Ukrainians and their hundreds of murdered children." Others were saying no to war. The authorities are lying. It's the names of programs and their descriptions on several of the major Russian networks appear to have been changed to display a message telling the people they're being lied to by the authorities.
Good job.
And a good choice to do. Yeah, absolutely. I hope it was Russians. I really do.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and
That's
if not,
awesome.
certainly the Ukrainians are capable.
Yeah, they seem to be blowing up a bunch of shit inside Russia. Like,
Yeah.
Russia man found a mouse that roars.
Yeah.
Or at least bites.
Huh?
U.S. senior defense official says there are anecdotal reports of Russian troops in Ukraine not obeying orders.
Well, we already had indications that at the troop level, they were, disabling tanks so they didn't take them out where they got shot.
Was the crushing their
Yeah.
officer with an armored personnel carrier. 'Cause
Yeah.
Fuck you, boss.
Yeah.
It's a long drag home to fucking Russia.
Anyway, this has been expanded to say we're getting, again, it's anecdotal reports. We
Yeah.
don't know that it was, Colonel so-and-so. But mid-grade officers at various levels, even up to battalion commander, are refusing to obey orders.
Okay, that's
Awesome.
better and more interesting if true.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are the ones over trying to do the new Donbass offensive and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And they're the ones with the jack-in-the-box tanks and so, hey. Anyway, the official said they have evidence that they've either refused to obey orders or are not obeying them with the same alacrity that one would expect. So they just slow rolling it, which is, I'm sure, what they're doing. I'm not going to tell you, fuck you, I'm not doing it.
That's how I get me
I'm just
and a
going to
bunch of
slow
people with
roll
home
your
shots.
ass. Yeah.
I'm driving around the first bend in the road and we're having a picnic, boys.
Yeah. well, in 3 hours after I'm supposed to have left the forward edge of the battle area, I'm going to call you and tell you I need gas, etc., etc., etc. So,
Fair.
anyway.
No, sounds
Fuck
good
me,
to
I
me.
have my. Oh my god. It says something bad about me that I just realized you could also teach your recon kids to. I need you to go way ahead of us and ambush the shit out of the field truck.
Yeah.
Like, shoot it a bunch, but don't set anything on fire.
Yeah.
All right. CIA director claims Putin believes doubling down will improve Ukraine war outcome.
This was from a couple of days ago, and given the fact that Putin did not raise the stakes in the propaganda war at his idiot parade, suggests that maybe he's not doubling down right this minute. But the assessment is that he has so much invested in this so-called Ukrainian, it's not police action, what is it? Technical action,
Special
whatever.
operation.
Special, yeah. Is that he cannot back down in Ukraine. So
What's
anyway,
a win look like for Russia then?
what does what?
What does Russia think a win looks like then?
I don't think at this point they know, and I don't
That's-
think. I think we've got Putin at the point where
We've seen what happens to the modern
he'd like to
military,
double
understands
down,
that.
right?
Yeah.
And so again, hesitation. If he were really doubling down, I would have expected some really bellicose words today. We didn't get them.
Yeah.
It may finally be soaking in on him that the EU has united against him, and that's not going to end.
Yeah, that probably for the rest of their life, Russia gets to sit out a lot of terms.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe he's considering ways to get out with some money. So
It's open.
We'll see. All right. Citizens arrest Texas GOP megadonor of plan to attack AC repairmen over voter fraud scheme.
okay,
That is a
so
lot of weird words put together in the same sentence.
It really was.
No,
Like, I left.
I struggled.
Repairman
through
took me in a
one.
weird direction.
But, yeah.
so anyway, this is Texas Republican power broker Stephen Halsey, and he's the one. You remember when they did a citizen's arrest on that plumber, and he was going to have hundreds of thousands of ballots in his truck. And
Yeah.
Oh,
so they broke
Jesus,
his
yeah.
truck, and there
Yeah.
was nothing in it, and so forth and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah, that was pretty freaking crazy.
Oh, turbo nuts.
Well, several weeks ago, they charged this financier with the same crimes, right? So again, he's an accessory before the fact, right? And guilty of the crime.
Right.
And they charged him with them. And I thought, you're not going to get that one, right? That's not going to happen. But turns out, 2 days before the idiot, they say private investigator, he's a retired cop.
They are. Too many states let them just
yeah.
be security dude.
Yeah. So anyway, 2 days before a private investigator looking into voter fraud conspiracy theory, smashed into an air conditioning repairman's truck and pulled a gun on him, Stephen Halsey called the U.S. Attorney, Ryan Patrick, and told him about the plans to have a wreck. So, guys, I'm sorry, this is not passive fundraising. This is not, oh my God, I had no idea he was going to do that. He now faces felony charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, unlawful restraint. He wasn't on site. These are things that he was an accessory before the fact and helped plan. So,
These are the type of idiots you guys are fucking electing. Pay a fucking attention.
well, this is the guy who's paying to have people elected.
This is why we can't have
So,
piles of money
let's get
sitting
him
around
convicted
board.
and get him sentenced to 30 years and drive on. So he's saying, we've surveilled him for the last 2 nights, and Mark Aguirre, he wants to capture them when they bring the ballots out, and so leave tonight to deliver them, but he'll need a federal marshal with him. And in fact, he told me last night, he says, I'm going to have this guy's going to have a wreck tomorrow, and I'm going to run into it, and I'm going to make citizen's arrest. So again, he is absolutely.
Right now. Just Jesus shit.
Don't do the crimes, the interwebs. My God.
If you don't want to do the time, let's make sure he does the time.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
it's the only way you're going to get bored rich kids to stay the fuck out of politics, which is the only way you keep this country from going back to putting white kids on trains addressed to whom it may concern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it matters, like, there's any group we should be putting on trains. It's just, like, there is no bottom for us. We get really gross if you, like, know American history versus our mythology.
Yeah.
Speaking
No,
of
both. They're beautiful.
Speaking of time, let's talk about BoomerRex's about damn time.
Oh,
We need
good.
good
Yes.
news.
So the Russian tanks rolled on February the 24th,
Okay.
right? Through the whole continent, right? Into uncertainty.
Yep.
Anyway, what remained the same was that everybody was still buying Russian energy.
Yeah.
And despite most of the countries, arguing with the Russians about the invasion and so forth, they'd been earning about $1 billion a day with exports to the West. So anyway, they're 2/5 of the natural gas that Europe burns. They're about 1/4 of Europe's crude and so forth. And that's been going on for years. Remember, they called it Londongrad, right?
Yep.
There are Russian oligarchs with British citizenship because they bought it.
Yep.
Right. And they bought it from prominent British politicians who should be named. They had done exactly the same thing in Germany, right? So we've got a former German chancellor who's just hip deep with the oligarchs and so forth. And even he is coming around and saying, I was wrong. We shouldn't have done this, right?
And politicians are quick to figure out which way the
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, they know which way the wind is blowing.
Oh, yeah. They're not
They don't
dumb.
want to be declared an oligarch and have all their shit stolen.
Yeah.
But the point is that all of this nonsense with the energy could be about to change. That Europe is seriously considering embargoes against Russian oil. They've already embargoed their coal. This is a total change in what was Europe's energy policy, right?
Yeah, this is a whole different tenor. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think the big point is they have waked up that Russia is not a reliable partner and will use that energy as a political weapon. And they don't want to, yes, and they don't want to be beholden to little Pooty boy.
Right.
So anyway, we will see how it goes. But at the same time, they're cutting off privileges to share bank and so forth.
Yeah, those are the big moves.
That's going
I
to
like
hurt.
that. Because I remember that was showing up in articles that were saying, here's what we could do, but it will be incredibly disruptive.
Yeah.
And we'll need about 6 months to figure out what to do. And
Yeah. So anyway,
we did it faster than that.
did it faster than that. Pooty Boy did something I didn't think you could do. He has completely reunited EU and NATO.
Yeah.
And if Hungary continues to be
yeah.
a shithole about it, just kick Hungary
Then
out
they
of
chose
the
their
EU
team. Yeah.
and drive on.
Yeah.
Right? It's run by a pro-Russian strongman. Fuck him.
Well, and isn't Hungary starting to, notice the winds of change as well?
Hungary's got a history of revolution with shitty Russian-style governments, and I encourage them in a lot of ways.
Yes.
We shouldn't fuck them over.
Now
this
would be a
time.
good time to need new leadership.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And don't trust us. We'll probably fuck you again.
Anyway, Europe has had a serious change of heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what, again, if Putin, if little Pooty Boy were doubling down, he'd have said something belligerent at the parade today, and he really didn't.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Sadly, that means if he's doing speak softly and carry a big stick, we'll find out.
I've seen a lot of interesting video that could potentially show that Putin is not doing well health-wise.
I've seen things like that.
Yeah.
I also think we always say that when we don't like a person, but
No, but this is some very obvious gripping the table, having a noticeable tics and such. Very peculiar behavior.
hey,
Okay.
I wish him all the worst.
Yes.
I hope it is a
absolutely.
tumor.
Yep.
Like, fuck you.
I hope something goes really
Die
wrong and
bad
he
and
dies of
fast.
apoplexy. So,
But yeah, it was one of those
I
real
hope it
interesting
hurts.
things where I watched, the whole video, and then the guy who was doing the, voiceover for it or whatever spoke to people who, do diagnostics via video and stuff like that, and they said there's something. It's hard to say what they said, but there's definitely something wrong.
Cool.
And
Excellent.
explains his distance from people and not wanting
Behold
to be
the
close.
power of my God, the internet. Bow down or I'll give you the weird shakes.
Yeah.
Whatever. If I pray a bad thing happens to a dude and it happens to him, I get to dance about it. You should have seen me when Gaddafi got shot in the mouth.
But yeah, just very odd, and something that keep an eye out for when you see videos of Putin. All right, dumbass of the day. Who gets the crown?
Oh, I love it. Today it's Idaho's right-wing Lieutenant Governor, Janice McGeechan. She's the one, remember, the governor had to come back and stop her from doing incredibly stupid shit.
Seceding from
Because
the
she's
union
one
or
of the idiots
whatever
that
it was.
believes that
Declaring
God
war
will
on
take
the
the
moon.
wheel, right?
Yeah, she has vowed that Christ will reign if she is elected governor.
So
There
God
is-
will take the
That's
wheel.
a threat.
There
That
is
is a
no more
That's a
un-American
threat.
Yeah.
statement you can make than that. This is American Taliban.
Weird.
We have a separation of church and state. It was built
For a
into the
very damn good
Constitution.
reason.
Yes.
And for her to say stuff like this says she doesn't know the first thing about the Constitution,
Okay.
and she is a clear and present danger to it.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Yeah. Don't vote for
she
this
is, of
crazy
course,
one.
Trump's little.
All right.
She is, of course, Trump's little girlie,
Yeah.
right? So she's defended him on appearances on Tucker Carlson, Fox News. She's campaigned with election conspiracists and white supremacists.
How do we frame these
She
kids?
says, God has told us to pick up the sword and fight. Christ will reign in the state of Idaho.
How do we frame these cats?
Idaho,
an
run
idiot.
from this bitch screaming.
Yeah.
This is not okay.
How do we frame these cats as intellectual suicide bombers? Because that's basically what they're doing.
That's
right?
exactly what they are,
radicalize a shit pot of population who they're not going to go back to sleep after someone's wound them up talking about Christ's war on the whatsits. They're going to vote for whoever they're told to.
Yep.
It's the worst of the carnival barkerism of politics.
Yep.
It's the
Fortunately, they're only 30% of the
Democrats
population,
do
so
better
we need to mobilize the other 2/3 to not vote for them.
to remember what the fuck America's supposed to be about.
Yep.
Some Fievel level
Well,
shit.
and
Don't
they
watch
have done-
Fievel, everybody.
No, time after time after time, they have threatened violence, they have done violence, they have, which means that
Yeah, when I was growing up, they were threatening it and not doing as much of the carrying
Yeah.
out, and that's seeming like it's ticking over.
which means that they're subject to very long prison terms, and that's what to do with them. So, anyway.
All right. How land sale contracts looted black wealth.
So here's a study that was done in Chicago, and if we did it in any other city, we'd find exactly the same thing, right? I personally had not understood the extent to which we prevented the accumulation of black wealth, right? So I will take my own family's route here, is that my father was the first man in his family to graduate from high school. Thanks to the GI Bill, he finished with a PhD in chemistry.
Right.
Went to work with a good job, bought a first little ugly little house in a place called Crosland Park down by the Savannah River plant that the Atomic Energy Commission ran at the time. They've changed names several times, but yeah, they're still a Savannah River plant. And he made money on that house because he could buy it with a loan underwritten by the GI Bill. And when he made some money and the house was worth more and so forth, they sold the house for a profit. And that was the beginning of my family's wealth, was that house right there. So again, it was bought, underwritten by the GI Bill. Okay. So what my father did not know, and I know that when he found out, he was furious, but it was too late, was that black soldiers were prevented from using their GI Bill.
Oh yeah, aggressively.
They were redlined out.
Redlining, yep.
Right.
That was all that. Yep.
Yeah. So what replaced that was what were called land sale contracts.
Oh, yeah.
So at a time when home ownership was growing from less than 50% to much more than 60%, right? Black Americans were excluded from the easy parts of that home owning market. So what a land sale policy did was it came in and it looked like a mortgage for the house, but it wasn't. It was a sort of vaguely disguised rent to not own agreement.
Ugh,
right?
gross.
So you didn't build any equity at all. If you missed a single payment, you were evicted, and they started over and sold the house to somebody new, despite the fact that you had been making payments, right, which should have been building you equity. And this, in Chicago, it was devastating.
It's the renter's dilemma.
Yeah, except that this was made to look like a mortgage.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So anyway.
Right, it's the for-profit. Yeah, no.
So you've got a hefty down payment. You've got monthly payments that are higher than rental rates, and you're responsible for covering the cost of all home maintenance. And even if you made payments, you didn't build any equity in the home.
Oh, that's ridiculous. At least when you rent, if the toilet breaks, they have to fix it.
Yep.
God,
And
man.
the contract sellers held on to the title
It's Uber,
until
but
the
for houses.
last contract payment was
Or
made.
trucking for houses.
Right, and there
Yeah.
was no lien on the title. Right.
Fuck.
Anyway.
Ultra scumbaggery.
Oh my
Yep.
God, that's not okay.
Well, I'm glad you found another one that made you go, what the fuck?
Yeah. Where you
Things
just
that
look at-
make you go, what the motherfucking hell were these assholes thinking?
How was there not more stuff on fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking burn it all down, people. Don't do the
Don't
crimes.
burn anything down the internet. Jesus.
All right. Republicans
Maybe we can
already.
We should sell firefighting supplies.
Republicans
We
already.
kind of are. So,
Republicans are
hey, Democratic Party, the solution to this is tax the rich to pay for the infrastructure improvements and correcting all the shit that's wrong. But if you don't do that, well, get used to living under Donald Trump and
Mad
the
Max is
American
gonna be
Taliban. So,
Remember, Americans, we gotta land Mad Max. It's like the slow zombies thing. It's the one thing we owe each other. Don't go kleptocracy. Go full-on libertarian wet dream.
Yeah.
Like Somalia. but
Somalia.
still
Yeah.
All right. You two
with the
fucking done.
melanomas. He's got hollow-ass bird bones.
Fuck my life. Why? On a Monday.
What are the Republicans doing?
Do this
Just
to
the
me on
news. That's what
fucking
I'm trying to
Monday.
do. Let's stay on task.
Republicans already targeted on birth control. My statement to this, no one should be surprised. And if you are,
You're
You're a
fuck
fool.
off.
You're
Yeah.
the
You're
fucking
part of
dog.
the problem.
You're the dog in the room on fire saying this is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that was supposed to be a warning. God damn it. It's not a motivational poster, ladies and gentlemen. Please
No,
stop.
it's not. My life.
So anyway,
Just don't knock it
a big chunk of this is caused by a group that's named Students for Life of America, SFLA.
Of course they are.
It's an AstroTurf
I like snow cones and ice cream.
organization.
Freedom.
It's funded by big GOP donors. It's co-chaired by Leonard Leo, the far-right Federalist Society leader. And so they've been pushing for these Supreme Court kangaroos and so forth, right? And they're very, very good at what they do. So their director, Kristen Hawkins, has said that in her ideal world, the pill and IUDs would be illegal. And she's certainly not the only conservative with those views. They're coming for you. They're going to do it at the state level.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to make
Well,
these illegal at the state level.
They're going to punish your teenage girls for being teenage
They're
girls.
already
and your
keeping-
teenage boys are once again going to get let off the hook because it's not their problem they got little Susie pregnant. Even though it takes a man to make a woman pregnant, fuck you all. Stop selling little blue pills. Stop telling boys it's okay to fuck girls and everything will be better. God, I hate you all.
Yep.
Well, let's do the sensible thing and make fucking pills easier to get.
Yeah, absolutely. But see, that was
Teach
never
your
their...
kids about what sex
Preventing
is.
abortion
Yeah.
was never their thing. What the whole point is to force young women who have had sex outside of marriage
Yeah.
and to force them to carry the child as a punishment. That's what it's all
The state's
about.
gonna
It's
pay for
about
it.
power over young women.
Yeah, well, and it's a simple reinforcing thing of now there's going to be more poor kids, so they get to point to how much the state dole is and how we need to cut this because blah blah blah. It's becoming
Yeah,
a lifestyle,
expensive.
and-
But it's
Absolutely.
also punishing children
Mm-hmm.
for being the targets
Born.
of rape and incest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is all shithouse and horrible. But it's what
These
they're going to do with power.
people are not your friends.
Nope, but
Yeah.
it's the crazies that write them on checks and.
Their current talking points tell them to talk down and deny that
Yeah,
they have any
absolutely.
intention of banning contraception. Kind of like a couple of the kangaroos did when they were interviewed in the Senate.
Yeah, they know
So-
they're not popular when they're the fucking sex police, and they very much want to be the sex police.
Well, and at least two of them lied in the Senate.
And then
Yeah.
break all of their own rules because that's what these people do. They don't care about you. They
That's a
just want
feature,
to.
not
They
a
just
bug.
want to know that somewhere out there is a person struggling because of laws they enacted, and that gets their fucking dicks hard or their vaginas wet or whatever their thing is.
Absolutely.
Fuck them all,
Well, and in some locations, they're already collecting the
and not in a
date,
fun way.
the date of the last menses of women who have been to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
Actively collecting that.
these are
So that'll
people
be
who
the
have-
basis for preventing people from travel.
They've
Right.
Planned
recruited-
Parenthood, I would start putting shit through the shredder.
They have for years been taking photos outside abortion clinics and
Yeah.
using contacts in the DMV to run addresses. No, there is some
They've got a
not
good
fucking around
database.
intellects in there,
Yeah.
and that's problematic at best. But again, we need to start talking about digital privacy laws and a bunch of stuff. But
Well, see, digital privacy laws are based on the same arguments that Roe v. Wade was. So
Yeah.
Alito's
Oh,
planning on going after all of
absolutely.
that. That you have no right to privacy.
yes,
et cetera,
no,
et
they're
cetera,
not
et cetera.
kidding. If I were them, I would go after Section 230 the instant I regain power, because that will absolutely show you what happens to free press in a non-permissive environment.
Yep. So anyway, they're coming for you. If you don't believe that, that's fine with me. I'll
Well,
do fine in
The other
Somalia.
problem is that birth control is used for lots of different things in young women. I started birth control at around 12 for my acne, and it helped.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not just for having
Oh, yeah.
sex. It's used for other
There's-
things too.
A couple of doctors of my acquaintance, and I've even seen it on TV, will only prescribe some stuff if, like, you've got to go on birth control because the fucking flipper baby it makes if you're on this end,
Yep.
or get pregnant and have a problem and die.
But
'cause
hey,
your
none
shit
of the
can't be blood.
Republicans are interested
No,
in
I
any
know.
of those details. They
Yeah.
want to ban it all. Right. There's no exclusion for life of the mother. There's no exclusion for rape.
rape or
There's no
incest.
exclusion for incest. Again, the purpose is to punish a young woman who had sex, period. That's
But,
the whole
hey,
purpose.
Whether she had the option to say no or not.
If you're
Well,
a socially
clearly.
liberal, fiscally conservative cat, you should also be thinking that this is going to cost the states a lot of money.
Yep.
Because those babies are going to live. Like, it's America. You can
Yeah.
drop most fucking problems in an emergency room and it's going to work out kind of okay.
Yep. So, hey,
Good luck.
All right, updates with BoomerX.
Can we put the fun stuff at the end?
what?
Can we put the fun stuff at the end? You were saying?
No, you wind up with if you can't get justice in the courts, you will get it in the streets.
No.
So-
Do not put Americans' backs against walls.
Yep.
We've seen these cats before. They invented smoke screens and shot at each other with machine guns. Like, we've used artillery on each other.
Yep. No. Not a good idea. Don't do
They're
it. but
crazy. Don't start a fight.
recognize you can get there. So anyway, we had talked about CDC is now casting a wide net to see if they can figure out why the acute hepatitis is happening to children. It's killed 5 that we know of, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there is an interesting development in that is the UK noted that there is a strong correlation between families with pet dogs and families where this happened, right?
So what gross thing the dog get into?
Again, this
Parvo and kids?
if it's a zoonotic, right? So anyway, nobody knows, and they're saying, look, most families in the UK have pets, right?
Yeah.
So there's no guarantee at all this means anything, but they're looking at it.
May as well.
So far, the best bet remains an adrenovirus. So.
All right. Climate weirding.
So, New Mexico has a giant wildfire that's up there trying to wipe out the oldest Hispanic communities in New Mexico. But the reason it's up there and the reason it's being so successful is that New Mexico had an utterly unprecedented run of wind. 5 days with average wind 40 to 50 miles an hour with gusts to 60 and 70, right? That has driven the fire before it.
Yeah.
Right, so they're up there frantically trying to build, but it escaped containment in a couple of places last night with the high winds. They think they got them put out, right? So they had spot fires beyond their containment, but they think they got them put out. So they're up there fighting for their lives. But the enemy is this unprecedented run of windy days. So here you go. Here's your climate weirding, right? All these places that hadn't burned in 300 years are gonna burn.
Yep.
So, hey, what can I tell you?
Well, this is what happens when we don't keep, areas clear and
Yeah.
regularly burn appropriately to make sure that.
But you got to fund that shit, which means you got to tax the rich, which means
Yep.
the states around you. And in fact, really none of the states in the union can be doing the race to the bottom shit
Yep.
that we see everywhere.
Well, and remember that the forests have done that for themselves for thousands of years.
Right.
Because they didn't have
Any interest in
so-
whether or not that ridgetop burned or not.
well,
Well, in some, it's actually a life cycle for some plants.
Mm-hmm.
yep. One of the things that contributed to it was we had a long history of suppressing forest fire.
Yeah.
Many, many, many forest fires that we should have let burn, because that's how nature clears out that underbrush, right? So yeah, we probably need to go in there and clear away a bunch of underbrush and get it burnt. One of the fires they're fighting in New Mexico is an escaped prescribed burn. So,
Yep.
again, yeehaw. I understand the world will pass the 1.5 C goalpost in 2026.
Oh, we'll have to make a little cake.
Yeah.
I did see an interesting video that talks about hope for climate change.
No.
Yeah,
What'd
I
they say?
shared that with you, didn't I?
I don't know.
A few days ago. but,
Lies.
anyway, it was pretty interesting. I'll share it with you guys, and if you guys are cool with it,
Okay.
I'll share it
Whoa.
on the website. So,
Look forward to that.
I want to double, some of the facts in it are really, seem good, but I want to be able to double check them, and you
Yeah.
guys know a lot of this
We're
better than
making
me
some
anyway,
limited
so-
progress here and there, and there are economic reasons that will drive that progress further.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things it says is that some of this is being pushed, whatever, and it kind of gives a little bit of hope, because otherwise you just want to give up and say it's just nothing we can do. And
Buy
it-
guns, can food, and
the-
learn Mandarin.
the point is without hope, people don't push, and if you don't push, then these
Yeah.
changes don't happen. So you need to have the hope that we need to keep pushing these people.
Well, you need to have
for-
effective plans that you're going to keep pushing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's some of what it talks about.
Don't
But it
let
was-
the fact that we
it was
have
very
not made
interesting.
much progress keep you from making a plan and pushing for it.
Exactly.
It's that
exactly.
simple.
So again, I'll show it to you too. So go to our Facebook, BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, and if it's appropriate, I will share that there. I
Cool.
don't want to share anything with bad
Yeah.
information. So
Okay.
Tragic.
I do want to say thanks for all the comments on our
talking to you
Citizen
guys.
Know Nothing meme. It's been a lot of fun. So that's the meme that has the Citizen Know Nothing, which was from the early 1900s, I believe.
Yeah, late 18.
Late 1800s. Okay.
It's what there was before.
Um,
We rudely called the Republicans the Grand Old Party.
Right. So I made the meme, and it says, "Freedom to love, get back in the closet. Women, turn in your shoes and get back to the kitchen." So that was the meme I made, and you guys have just gone above and beyond with 107 shares, 49 comments, and 750 likes, thumbs ups, laughing faces, that sort of thing. So thanks. We really appreciate that. We love it. So again, I've been posting memes every day. I don't think I have a meme for today, but I'll see if I can throw one
Not every
together.
day is memeable, the internet.
Yeah, I'll see if I can throw something together. You know, if not, I'll get back on the ball tomorrow. But anyway, no, I just wanted to say thank you.
It's your fault, the internet. Do more interesting news.
We appreciate y'all, and
Not me.
please, you know, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for my awesome fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1.
Yeah, we need an airship. You need us to have an airship.
Yeah, you need us to have an airship. We will make
Whatever you believe
my
in wants us to have an airship.
It'll be amazing. You can find us on YouTube as Boomer Rex, or check your favorite podcasting service for Boomer Rex Tonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including
Only the best
Podbean,
ones.
Apple Podcasts, Booble,
You're fired.
Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight.
We're to send us gym bags full of money.
We love you all, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night on Boomer Rex Tonight.
I promise only use the airship for friendly reasons to help insert whatever group you care about here.